Hey guys, I just got out of the back rooms, and I would like to say I know nothing about the YouTube thing. All I'm aware of is started as like a Reddit post, and then just progressed into short films on YouTube, and then the guy who created the YouTube shorts made the movie. I had no idea what I was getting into except for the trailer, and it was different in a good way. Um, the movie for me is kind of hard to talk about, but and not because it's like I said, it was good, it was different, it was unique. Um, it's just kind of hard to compare it to stuff. Um, I can say some things I liked about it. I really like the camera work in the film. It reminded me a lot of kind of like The Shining, and kind of like The Shining, where like there would be like just shots setting up, and it's kind of like it's not scary. It's just kind of like off-putting or eerie. That's kind of what this movie was. I didn't find it like scary or disturbing or anything. It was just off. It was unsettling more than anything else. Um, I thought the characters. Well, there's only like five characters in this whole thing, and I thought they were good. Excuse me. I thought they were. I thought they were good. Only two of them we really get to know. Um, the lead guy, he was great. He really sold this role, and his therapist was okay. She, the guy was way more interesting than the therapist, but it's gonna happen. Um, it it kept me engaged because I didn't know where it was going. Um, and also I was trying to figure out what was going on. Again, not knowing the source material of this. I did think the reasoning, it barely gave any reasoning for. They explained what's going on, and I kind of figured out what was going on. And the ending gave me enough info on the situation of the back rooms where I was satisfied. It didn't explain a lot, because basically the movie is about this dude that finds an alternate reality, like another universe almost. And the universe is created by people's memories. And it seems like as the deeper you get, the more the memory becomes distorted. Or I think that's how that worked. Like as you went on, like you would see people with like extra fingers and like uh kind of like it reminded the faces kind of reminded me of like that Marilyn Manson painting that he did where it was like the three-faced Jesus kind of thing. It reminded me of that, which was cool. Um, and that was kind of it. And depending, I guess, who goes into it, it bases it off your memory. So I think that's what was happening. I don't know. I may be wrong, but it did make me kind of want to check out the original YouTube stuff. So I may check that out. I don't know. Just kind of see where the idea came from and how it was built. And I do think it's cooler that lately I've been seeing more of a trend where it seems like YouTubers are getting chances to make movies that are shown to a wide audience. Like Multiplier had one. I think that's what that guy's name is. I don't know. My old job, one of my coworkers was a big fan of his, so that's the only reason I even knew that he did that Iron Lung movie. And then you have Obsession, that was recent. Um, the widest people you know guy. I know that wasn't YouTube, but like the sketch comedy thing. Like you're getting new sources and new influences in horror that don't necessarily have either a horror background or that come from a smaller source than the wide audience appeal. And I think that's cool. And it's interesting to see what they come up with. Like Zach Kreger, the guy who did Weapons of Barbarian, he's doing a great job right now. Jordan Peele has been doing good. I can't wait to see what he does next. Um, and now the Obsession guy, I really, really want to see his take on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mentioned that in the Obsession review. So it is cool that they're giving these guys shots to make movies, and it seems like they're doing a very good job. And I know that it's not just them that's doing it, there's a whole team behind them, but they're surrounding themselves with good people, and you're also being surrounded by talented cast members. It's not like, and they're putting money behind it. Well, Obsession was a very small budget, but it was a very simple story. I don't know the budget on this one, but it was a high concept that could have. I don't know if it would have worked if it didn't have the inherent fan base of the YouTube short. It worked for me, and I've never seen any of it or really even knew about it until I saw the trailer like months ago, and then I looked into it. The audience for this was a bunch of uh, like a younger crowd. It reminded me of a crowd like um, okay, I don't work there anymore. I recently changed jobs, but I was a manager at Spencer's for 3 years, and it reminded me of the demographic that would go to Spencer's. That same kind of like internet, like grew up with the internet, kind of based teenagers, and even younger, like which I saw a lot of Spencer's t-shirts in the audience when they were walking up. But it was a packed house, and generally I think they enjoyed themselves. They didn't make a sound, which was weird, but then again, it's not really a scary movie. It's eerie, it's off-putting, and again, I don't know if that reflects on the source material or not, but the way that they did a lot of things were really cool and really set the tone for it. I mentioned earlier, it kind of reminded me of like The Shining, like a Kubrick kind of thing, but not to where they're copying like what Kubrick has done. It's very, you can tell it's inspired by Kubrick, the cinematography is, but they take it in their own direction. It has its own feel, which is cool. And even some of the direction of how the film goes is very Kubrick. And then you get like some weird like David Lynch kind of like characters in there, or like even David Cronenberg type characters. You get a good mixture of stuff, but it feels new. It feels different. And that's how I think you should base a movie, or how you should do a movie that has its own source material. Um, because I know some movies, which I've never seen this movie, and I'm probably never going to watch it because I don't have kids and I'm not around kids. But like the Minecraft movie, um, they had, I think that was made solely for the people that played Minecraft, and they didn't. That's what at least I've heard from like people who have seen it. But people that don't play Minecraft don't get the jokes, and it's not made for them. And to me, that alienates part of your audience. Um, or I'm trying to think of another example. Off the top of my head, I can't. But that's like a modern example that I can think of. Or, well, one that does it well. I mean, the Super Mario movies, they're based on, obviously, the video games, but it's a wide audience to where they're still enjoying it, and you don't have to be a fan of the games, but you get the references, you enjoy the references, you get the jokes, but it's good even if you don't understand the games. And I think that is probably a positive example of making an adaptation. This coming from the outside of not knowing anything about the source material, not even knowing what it was until a few months ago. And then again, very like basic like what it is. I still enjoyed the movie and I think it is good. Now, I can see people not liking it because it is a weird movie and it's hard to talk about just because it is so different. Even though I can see influences in other, maybe homages that it's doing to other movies that I could probably point at. But it does it in its own way. It's not just straight ripping it off. And even how they present the Backrooms, I the whole time you're in the Backrooms, you hear the buzzing of the lights and like just these labyrinth made hallways, and then as you get deeper it becomes a little bit more detailed. Then people start climbing stair sets and shit, and there's a swimming pool, and it doesn't it it's a really high concept film, but it's done very simplistically. I think is what really been is a beneficial to it. Uh, and with that being said, I'm not saying that I'm stupid or like a stupid person will like can enjoy it, but I'm just saying sometimes you go with a high concept and you make it a little bit too overly complicated and it just kind of falls flat on its face. This has a high concept, but it does it very simplistically or simple, and it works out for it. Um, but also you're led by some really good acting, and I hope this does do well. I don't know if you could really do a sequel to it. I think a sequel would be really stupid. Because the way it ends could open it up into its own world. Again, I know I've said this enough, but not knowing the source material, I don't know how much you really know about the Backrooms from that. I just know it from the movie, and you could really open it up and do some things, but that may ruin the mystique about it. I kind of like that it's left very, very little information is known. Like, all you know is what you've seen, and nothing is elaborated further than that. Which I like movies like that. I think sometimes we're spoon fed. Like, oh, did you know this is happening? Oh, like, you know how they make Netflix shows or how they used to make sitcoms back in the day, where everybody is saying what they're doing because people have it on in the background, so you can understand the context of the show or the episode without actually having to watch it because they're speaking it out loud because people don't want to sit down and watch anything anymore. Um, this doesn't do that. Obsession didn't do that. What did I see before Obsession? Hokum did do that. So, and Weapons didn't explain stuff going on. Like, we're in this new era of horror, I think, that is very cool. And everything is very distinct from one another. Because for a while there, we were just kind of rehashing the same shit. It was either like take an old IP and remake it, or well, I was a fan of the Saw and the Hostel movies, but you got copycats of that. And then the Twilight stuff started happening, some more romance into horror kind of thing, and uh, horror was only good in the indie side. And now we're getting all these mainstream releases, and they're making horror movies like cool again. And I think really the one to kick that off, and I've said this for a while, which was Get Out, where we're getting these more higher. I know the Scream movie, one of the Scream movies said this, and I don't like the term, but I'm going to use it. Elevated horror, where it's not just someone in a mask going around killing campers, which I love those movies. I love slasher movies, but It's my favorite genre. But like even non-horror fans are enjoying these horror movies and seeing the potential of the genre of horror and getting more people into it, and I think that's a great thing. And even something as small as starting from a Reddit post and then making a YouTube series and then finally seeing the product on a big screen, that's a cool move from horror. And it's just showing that if you got an idea, fuck it, just do it. And I was surprised this was an A24 movie. I really was. Because I'm not the biggest A24 fan. I think they've done some good stuff, but very far and in between. I remember the first time I ever saw an A24 movie, it was the Kevin Smith movie Tusk. Which, I'm one of the few people that love Tusk. I love Tusk. Yoga Hosers could suck it, but Tusk is amazing. I saw that movie 3 times in the theater, and I think it was only in my city for a week. But I can see this being a divisive movie, but even if you don't like the movie, you could still say technically it's a well-made movie with strong actors and all that. So I would recommend it. It's I kind of like going in and not knowing anything about it, which makes me kind of want to go back and watch the Backrooms on YouTube. Or not. I don't know. I'm kind of iffy about that. I kind of like the fact that I just got this movie and that's it. I don't really want to know the source material. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So go check it out if you want to. But I will say this: Obsession's way better than this movie. Obsession's way more up my wheelhouse. So if you have to choose one, I'd say Obsession. But make your own decision. I don't really care what you do. I have a video coming later in the week. It's just me going around my room and just showing all my collectibles and stuff. I just wanted something to post in the meantime. So, I mean, watch or not, I really don't care. I'm just going to post more. I'm going to try to post just more little stuff to keep interest. But that's all for this one, guys. See ya.